and I think a lot of this is going to depend on how much money is Oklahoma willing to spend, not necessarily on a head coach, but on a head coach and an offensive coordinator, defensive coordinator, a staff to build a staff at the right way. I think the one thing that, and these are just rumors, but they've been corroborated. I think from what I'm hearing, Riley was given somewhere, and it'll probably come out today or tomorrow, somewhere in the neighborhood of 10 years for $150 million. $15 million a year is a guy. It's so to take that into perspective. Um, right now, Saban is at about 9.7 as the highest paid coach in the country. Mel Tucker just got an extension, I think, in the 9.3, 9.5 range. So, given the fact that Riley was at seven, I think around 7.3 this year for Oklahoma, and is in the 15 million neighborhood, is just astronomical for me. And from the things that I've heard, he is. They are going to, you know, essentially break the bank to bring in whatever to bring whatever folks staff that they need to bring in. So I think Oklahoma needs to do the same thing to a certain extent. Um, so I think whether that's with Venables, whether that's with Bob, whether that's with Fickle or any of these other jobs programs, so to speak, that um, Oklahoma has to be able to do that to compete. So, love. I didn't know how many people would actually come on here. I knew there would be more than normal, but 108 people on here. So keep it coming, please. Hit the like button, share, subscribe, um, retweet, follow me. I'll just put my Twitter handle up here. Um, on the board, come follow me at Twitter, Jason Ray One. We'll be talking about this for the next coming week and longer. So just for me, I would think that Oklahoma names somebody probably within a week. I would be surprised if it takes longer than that because they got to get someone in salads this 2022 class and then recruit internally within that team. So tell me, give me your thoughts. Who do you think? And I'll go through all the comments here as much. And then there's some of them that I'll discount immediately, and then there's some of them that I'll say, hey, absolutely. I think there's um, some thoughts. So Ryan, decisions been made in the coming weeks. Yeah, I think absolutely. I think coming week, I think is probably if this lingers longer than a week or two, then I think they've probably landed on Bob to just kind of take the reins for a year or two. But if not, then I think somebody would be named. At this point next Monday. Big can OU go hard after Aranda? I think they will. At the very least, I think they will. I think they will absolutely best his interest, without a doubt. Um, the only thing that I struggle with on Beamer's side, Ryan, is and I know he had a great year comparatively speaking, 6-6 at South Carolina, based on kind of the dumpster fire that um, he kind of entered into as well. But um, just from the experience factor, I'm not sure if would be ready. But yeah, I mean, if they gave him big money to get coordinators and just let him manage the same way with Bob, that wouldn't have a big problem with that. The ex Sooners are coming out of the woodwork. There is a tremendous, and I mean tremendous, amount of support for Venables internally and with the fan base. So I think, and that's one of the reasons why I think, and he may not have interest in being a head coach. He may not, um, but I think at the very least, I think he'll get a call, and I think he'll get the offer without a doubt. Let's see. This is why, and I'm still seeing some things about Kingsbury. I think this is a ploy to get, and Teddy said this as well. this is probably something that was floated out there by his agent for him to get a contract extension or maybe even get more money at Arizona. I don't see him as a valid candidate, and if for no other reason, exactly Ryan as you mentioned, just the any kind of connection to tech, absolutely. Um, let's see. Hey, what's up, Cam? Thanks for joining us here. Yeah, I don't really think Caleb goes to LSU. I think he either goes with Riley to USC or stays at Oklahoma. I don't think there's any reason for him to go to LSU. I think Oklahoma will get first pick between Oklahoma, but whoever if Oklahoma offers the same job to a candidate that LSU offers, I still think Oklahoma will get first pick there. Yeah, I'm with you, Trap House. I'm still in shock. The shock factor is slowly kind of dissipating, and it's getting more to the anger factor for me right now. Um, Kayla was feel betrayed. Kayla and his family fully committed. Only took it. I think there's a sense of betrayal across the board right now. I think that's fair. Um, Greg, Oklahoma could easily go into a 2, 3 year rebuild with timing of. You're right. And as much as I hate to say this, I know that you can put a patchwork roster together with exactly with who you can get from the transfer portal. But I think given the timing of where this is at, I think yeah, it is a bit of a rebuild over the next couple of years. And not to say that Oklahoma's going to fire out losing seasons or anything like that. That's not that's absolutely not going to happen. But could and especially depending on when Oklahoma does actually go to the SEC, I think you could see some for a period of time. There could be a decent rebuild, and when I say rebuild, maybe 3, 4 loss season for the next couple of years. It's possible. Not predicting that. Just remains to be seen who Oklahoma gets and how they're able to bring in some guys. Definitely. Um, yeah, I don't think a 5 year rebuild. I don't think it'll take that long. Urban Meyer, he's a name that's been floated out there. I don't know. I don't know if it would happen. I don't know if he would be interested. But I mean, I think it would be a splash higher for sure, without a doubt. Yeah, Seth Luttrell was hot a little bit ago, but I think he hasn't had the last couple of years at North Texas haven't been really strong for Seth, so I don't think he has as much as a factor as he has um, in the past. Urban needs to rebuild this. No better place than coming to the board. I think he's got too much baggage. I don't think that would be anything. I would be surprised. I would be surprised, but I wouldn't be mad at it. Absolutely not. But I would be surprised if Oklahoma is the destination for him. Let's see. Let me go through. Um, yeah, I mean, it would be hard. It would be hard. Yeah, and I think this is one thing that I mentioned. I think it's very critical just knowing how, really just ushering Oklahoma into the new SEC world. I think it's critical that it's maybe a combination of someone that understands the Oklahoma culture and at SEC. I've heard Sam Pittman's name. I hadn't heard that a lot until kind of earlier this morning. But he's a guy from Oklahoma, but also understands the SEC as well. So I mean, that could be a possibility. He's not a young, energetic coach, but I think he's someone that would be interesting. Um, Matt Rule's interesting guy as well. I didn't mention Joe Brady. Joe Brady's another guy that I've heard. I think the thing with Matt Rule is he's not doing extremely well with Carolina right now, and I've kind of heard through the grapevine that he's not necessarily in love with the NFL. So I think that would be a guy that you would be fired up about, would be excited. Um, Pete Carroll is absolute no, not a fit culturally at all with Oklahoma. Aranda and Rule there. We've talked about Urban, and I like Fickle. I like Fickle more than Mark Stoops, but I like him. But he is an Ohio guy, so he may be waiting out possibly the Ohio State head coach. Preston, there's absolutely nothing you can tell me that would make me believe Riley and Grinch didn't have this. So Preston, here's what I've heard. I think this has been in the works for a while. I don't know that I would say September, but I would say definitely late mid to late October. I think this has kind of been in the works. I think now we understand where he was really at on that bye week when he didn't didn't go on his media availability that he typically has. So I think we know now that's where he was. So um, a lot of shady business. It really is, um, without a doubt. Lane Kiffin is too immature. Possibly. My top three: Aranda, Cristobal, Venables. So Venables would be one for me. I think Aranda's in that top three. I've heard a lot of people talk about Cristobal. I'm not a wouldn't be a big fan of his, just because I don't just from that West Coast side. I don't know that um, he would be a guy. Definitely agree, Cheryl. SEC experience is going to be needed. Um, this was too funny, not too handsome when he that cigar in the mouth type. That's funny. Um, you get three different if not the right person. I guess you need Venable and bring he wants to. Yeah, no, I think that's fair. Sam Pittman, yeah, absolutely. You would be a candidate. Um, don't see OU doing it though with Kiffin. I don't really either. It would be a home run hire for sure, but I don't really see it. That's a big question, Ryan. I mean, I think that's a great point, and one that they're going to have to. I mean, I think at this point, Ryan, they have to know what they're up against, and they have to be willing to do this, or else they're going to, they're going to be a middle dweller in the SEC for years and years and years to come. There's going to be some adjustment period where they're going to, regardless of what's happening here right now with the coaching situation, there was going to be an adjustment period where Oklahoma was probably going to take a little bit of some lumps early on, but then once they kind of get themselves, you know, indoctrined into the SEC, so to speak, then that would kind of go from there. But I think they've got to be able to do exactly what they need to do and spend those resources. Um, I've heard this a couple of times. Absolutely, I would be completely against Dan Mullen coming here. He ran Florida into the ground this year, um, and so I don't think it would be a great choice. Um, yeah, I wouldn't be surprised to see Mario go to Miami. Um, yeah, Bob, he definitely is going to would be a buffer choice. He would be a safe choice, just if they feel like that they need more than anything to keep continuity and keep the wheels on the bus right now. That's the only reason that I would think that he could possibly be the guy. Um, let's see. Keep Stoops. I want no part of someone without a doubt. Um, Venables, I don't think would. The only reason he's coming to Oklahoma for a head coaching job. He's not going for what at this point is probably a lateral move as the DC at Clemson to DC at Oklahoma. Um, yep, he would keep Oklahoma stable without a doubt. and wouldn't be upset at all with this. Let him, kind of be the manager and spend money on the coordinators, and then just, just kind of be the game manager, so to speak. And I think that's a really distinct possibility. Exactly what I think that's exactly the reason why he's coaching this bowl game is, going to keep that continuity, going to try to rally the troops. I think you've already seen Andrew Rame has already came out and talked about Bob Stoops being true family, and you've seen some similar comments. So I think he's going to be the rah rah guy for Oklahoma. Can't imagine a more loyal guy. And I think the one thing about Bob, and I didn't really talk about this angle just now, but I talked about it yesterday. Bob is so loyal to the University of Oklahoma. I mean, you can see it in everything that he does. Everything that he does with Fox, he is Oklahoma's biggest fan, Oklahoma's biggest cheerleader, without a doubt. And the fact that he dropped everything. From what I've heard yesterday, he was literally in the middle of a golf game when this news. He stopped everything in the middle of it and hightailed it to Norman to be with this team. I mean, that's just incredible for me. I mean, honestly, like, and you don't make emotional decisions on hiring someone, but the word was that Riley went in there and talked for a couple of minutes. I heard there was one specific coach, and I heard there was a couple players that, and I'm sure there was more, but heard this from a pretty reliable source that one coach was really hammering on Riley as he was trying to deliver an emotional speech and saying, "Hey, this was your decision. You decided to do this." And then for a guy like Bob to stop what he's doing, immediately get to Norman, to be with the team, not even his players, to be with these kids shows so much about him. And that's why I would be thrilled to death, honestly. Loyalty goes a long way with me, without a doubt, in terms of being loyal to the university. So, I wouldn't in the least bit be disappointed about Bob coming back. Now I know that I would be disappointed if he's the guy for the long haul, but for the next couple of 2 or 3 years, kind of keeping the wheels on the bus, I think that's absolutely. Um, yep, year without a doubt. Pete Golding's an interesting choice. I think he was, um, I think he was one of the choices for Oklahoma from a defensive coordinator perspective. But yeah, I think that would be another name that I really heard a whole lot about. But um, oh yeah, I've heard those comments talking about not wanting to be a head coach, but I think being just going anywhere and then versus going to Oklahoma, it could be considered a big difference.